We've got a Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 update, and we're also going to be talking about something that kind of pertains to like future Square Enix titles, maybe even some games that we've been waiting for that we think are in existence, like Final Fantasy IX Remake, maybe even Final Fantasy 17. A lot to discuss here as far as new comments that have officially come out from Square Enix and Naoki Hamaguchi. To stay up to date on everything that is dropping about this game and future Square Enix titles, consider hitting that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and share the video to help grow our community. Now let's talk about what's being said about FF7 Remake Part 3 as far as new interviews go. This comes from Genki over on Twitter, who says, Naoki Hamaguchi says Part 3 of Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy will bring together all the stories told so far and leave a lasting impression on players. In quotes, for the third and final part, which is currently in development, we are working to bring all the stories told so far together for an epic culmination that will leave a lasting impression on players. Audrey over on X says Hamaguchi doesn't specify whether the epic culmination means every single FF7 spin-off coming together, or if it means just the FF Remake series storyline, so just to be clear there. So that's a bit of an update that they've given us, at least as far as the story goes, is that they're going to give a proper send-off for this game, and this may not be the big piece of information that a lot of people were looking for as far as story, but as far as like just the way they're rolling out the news for this game, it's a little early still, so don't expect anything major. Obviously, once we start getting actual trailers and teasers, then more information will come to light, and then a lot of speculation begins. But it's good to know that they feel pretty confident about what they're doing here. I mean, obviously so. We've got some legendary developers on this game and people who are super proven on what they've already created. As far as the rollout of Part 3 goes, FF7 Rebirth director Hamaguchi confirms on Square Enix's blog they are working to bring Part 3 to Nintendo Switch 2 and Xbox as well. He doesn't specify whether the Nintendo Switch 2 and Xbox versions will be available on launch or not, but that they are going to bring them there. Now, obviously, we expected that Part 3 would not remain a PlayStation exclusive. It could launch as one, but I think that they're very likely going to be launching on those other platforms. If I were to guess, I think that it's going to launch on PC and PS5 day one, and then I think other platforms later on. But I do think they're going to really try to hit those two target platforms, being PS5 and PC, because those are their biggest audiences. They're going to sell the most units there without a doubt, and then they can work on porting them to the other platforms after, which will also allow them to drop their games earlier. But I don't think there's any exclusive agreement that's going to be in place unless there's already a pre-signed one, which we don't know for a fact if there is. There is some speculation around that Sony signed an agreement for 3 games for the remake series, but I don't know that we actually know that to be a fact. It seems like that's based on some speculative and rumor talks. I don't know how I feel about that. I do think as far as launch goes, we're going to see it on PC, PS5 day one, and then afterwards we'll see it go everywhere else afterwards. Now, I told you guys that there was some more information here that was pertaining to future Square Enix games that we've been waiting for a while. Audrey posts over on X that FF7 Rebirth director Hamaguchi says in an interview with RPG Site that in addition to handling direction for FF7, he's in charge of producing several games, some of which are not released or announced yet. And this is that big piece of information where this could be a very, very big deal, right? He's a great director. He's proven himself time and time again with the releases that he's had. So I'm very inclined to believe that, he's working on some pretty high profile games, especially after the success of the previous titles that he's worked on. So I think that it could be a situation where he's either working on Final Fantasy 17 or maybe even this 9 remake that we've constantly heard about that maybe is being rebooted all over again. I honestly think it's pure speculation at this point. I don't know if he's working on something not FF related, just because his history and his work is within FF and just how well he's done, that I don't know why they wouldn't want to put him on more Final Fantasy projects, which is their biggest IP. So it makes sense that they would want to do that. I think that it would be great to see him do a Final Fantasy IX Remake. I know some people wanted to see Yoshi P do that one, but I think I'd be excited to see him work on Final Fantasy IX Remake. Whether that's the situation that's actually happening is pretty much up for speculation at this point, but I think that once Remake Part 3 is out, it's going to be interesting to see which direction Square Enix goes in, because things are getting very exciting as far as the potential for the future of Final Fantasy. Mind you, I love the remake series. I love old Final Fantasy games being remade, but there's nothing like a new mainline Final Fantasy entry, so I actually wouldn't even mind the idea of him doing a Final Fantasy 17, or if Yoshi P is doing Final Fantasy 17. I just want to see what the future of Final Fantasy looks like and the future stories that are going to be told here. But hearing he's working on multiple entries, at least as far as games go, it'll be really cool to hear what they are eventually. I do also keep in mind that there is the thought of like, is he being spread too thin at this point? That is a thought to keep. I do think that, you know, these guys are really high productivity people, and they are able to do a lot more than just any regular producer does or any regular director does. At least that's what it seems with Square Enix, is their directors and producers, their head staff seem to be working on tons of things at the same time and are very effective in what they do. Whether the efficiency is there, I guess in some cases it can be seen, especially with the last 2 remake games. I don't know, man. I feel like they've started to figure out their production rate and how quickly they're able to put projects out. And that kind of brings us up to speed with what's happening with Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3, right? There is not a whole lot of deep information out there right now. Obviously, until we get those teasers, those trailers, and more information like of actual tangible, something we can see, something we can look at that is beyond just kind of, you know, extracting words here and there from interviews, it's going to be like this for a little while. I do think that there's potential for some sort of reveal this year, but I was hoping Tokyo Game Show was it, but it seems like that's not it. So maybe the Game Awards, I don't know. We'll see. We did see Rebirth at Summer Game Fest, so it's not impossible. Let me know what you guys think about all this information regarding Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3, and what would you like to see Hamaguchi work on next as far as future titles go. As always, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and share the video to help grow our community. I thank you all for watching. Take care.